So you want to make YouTube videos. No matter if you like it or not, you gotta learn how to edit if you want to make YouTube videos. I've been there. The biggest hurdle for me when starting my YouTube channel was just knowing that there's all these things I need to learn, how to edit, how to film. For some, editing is the most daunting part of making YouTube videos. But as a former design student, you know what I'm saying? I've taken the coursework and classes, learning how to use these softwares, building up techniques, tips, and tricks. So in this video, I'm gonna teach y'all how to make editing fun. It's also beginner friendly. So in this video, I'm gonna discuss the 3 essentials for equipment, what editing software you should choose, editing tips, audio editing, where to find free music, what fonts I use, transitions, and color grading. And stay till the end for my secret sauce, my tips and tricks, you know what I'm saying? I got some good stuff with it, so don't click away. So first off, the equipment, I'll make it quick since this is an editing video. For equipment, you basically just need the top 3 essentials, and arguably some of them might not even be essential. First off, the camera, you could totally just start out using your phone. You know, I started doing that, just recording, not even in 4K and just HD, because I didn't have storage on my phone for those big files. Oh my gosh, bro. Yeah, we can't afford 4K over here. It worked out, you know, it's good. Some of my highest performing videos were just shot on my phone. Currently, I'm using the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II, just because I've been saving up for it. You know, I want to get into more cinematography type stuff, but you definitely do not need a camera like that to start your YouTube career. The second essential, it could be argued if it's essential, is a mic. When I was starting out, I just used my phone's audio, but I feel like the main thing, if you do want to invest in a mic, is it doesn't really matter how much it is. I've used one that's like $15 or $30, and it worked pretty fine. And the main thing you want is maybe a wireless Bluetooth mic, just so you have a mic close to your mouth so it doesn't catch any outside noise, is the main thing when I was just recording on my phone. And the third last essential is a tripod. You want something to hold up your camera or your phone while you're recording. Chances are, if you're just starting out your YouTube channel, you're probably just recording on your own, trying things out, you know, you just want something to hold it up so you don't have to hold it up all the time. It's really nice. They're pretty cheap. Mine's like $15. For all my equipment, I'll put links down below, you know what I'm saying, if you want to check them out. So the first thing that you guys got to think of is editing software. I know there's a lot of free ones. A lot of people use CapCut, iMovie are some good free alternatives. There's also DaVinci Resolve and Premiere Pro, Adobe Premiere Pro, Final Cut Pro. I personally use Adobe Premiere Pro just because I am a designer and I already paid for the Adobe Creative Suite. So I'm like, you know, might as well use the one I already have. The best option is the one at your disposal, so you can make anything work. So, getting into editing, my first editing tips are to use techniques like L-cuts and J-cuts to make your videos more engaging. Basically, an L-cut is when you let the first clip's audio bleed into the second clip, so you're still hearing the first clip's audio when you start seeing the second clip. It gives it a good transition to see what's happening in the next scene before you start hearing it. And the opposite of that is a J-cut, which is basically the inverse of that, when you start hearing the second clip while the first clip is still playing. So you kind of like get an audio preview of what the next clip is going to be, and it just gives you a nice smooth transition. It's good for when you got 2 really different scenes of like setting and like pace. It's nice to ease into that instead of just cutting the chaos, you know what I'm saying. Another thing that I've been incorporating in my videos a lot recently is mixing B-roll into my talking head footage. It's just basically these talking videos, they get very long-winded and very monotonous after a couple minutes. So it's good to break it up with B-roll about what you're talking about. It could be just like random B-roll, aesthetic shots of like nature, you making coffee in the morning. Experiment with that, you know. It's a good easy tool to just break up your videos, so it gives it a little more variety. My next tip is to start out with a rough cut, which is basically just chopping all the silences and awkward moments in your clips and then stitching them together to make it more clear.
Let me be clear.
It basically lays out the blueprints for how your video is going to look after you polish it, add effects, transitions, and text on the screen. And a nice thing that I like to do, especially for the intro parts or the more exciting parts, is to match the cuts with the music beats. Here's an example in my last video that I used it on. Yeah, it really adds to the energy, you know. It shows that you put thought into the pacing and the editing of certain scenes, you know, to make it more cinematic, like a movie if you want it like that. If you're making videos, you know, it's an art form, you know. Express your art, express yourself, you know what I'm saying. And a more overlooked part of editing is the audio, which is, I feel like, equally as important to the visuals, because you can have nice visuals, but if your audio is it really messes up with the quality. If your software has this, I do this in Adobe Premiere Pro, you can put some audio effects on your clips to make them sound higher quality than they actually are. The three main effects I use is dynamics, which I don't really know what it does. It makes it sound good though. There's de-esser, which basically softens all the S noises because it can be kind of harsh in the final edit. And parametric equalizer is the main one. Yeah, parametric equalizer is the holy grail of all audio effects, where you can really tweak every small thing about your audio. The main thing I use it for is if there's noise. In an audio track, there's like this loud hissing rumbling noise. It has like this graph thing, and then what I do is I raise like a certain point and then I just move it along the audio channel to find where the noise is. Once I find it, I drag it down and then it just silences the noise, and it's really nice, honestly, because since I was using my phone, I didn't have a mic like this that just captures the voice. It had all the background noises and everything, so it's really good for cutting that out. I recommend, if your software has that, you know, try it out. For free music, when I was starting out, I would always hear like small creators or bigger creators being like, man, I use Epidemic Sounds for my stuff. You should use Epidemic Sounds, you know, sponsored, not sponsored. This one's not sponsored. But so I was like, dang, is that like the only way you could get like good quality free music? And I was like looking it up. The subscription fees are very steep, you know what I'm saying? If you're starting out, you don't want to invest too much money up front. Starting out, I did find some really good free alternatives for music. First was free for profit YouTube videos, which are basically just small musical artists that are just letting people use their sounds for free for profit use, just trying to get their name out there. So I've been liking it. You know, I use that for a lot of my earlier videos. Gives you a good variety. You know, you can find one that matches your certain aesthetic. You can find one that matches the sound of a certain musical artist. Type in your favorite artist, free for profit, type beat. You know what I'm saying, bro? Type beat. All you gotta do is just credit it in the bottom of your video and you Gucci. Alright, this is my most asked about part of my whole editing process on my YouTube videos actually. What fonts do I use? And my advice as a graphic designer for your YouTube videos is just to have a good solid 3 good fonts that you can use over and over in your editing routine to just streamline the process, because you know, you don't want to every video pick out a nice font for every video. That gets very time consuming. You're trying to optimize your time if you're trying to stay consistent with your videos. So out of the 3, the first one, get a good sans serif font, which is the nice one with the clean lines without the what they call serifs. If you guys don't know, that's the most versatile one that you would probably use in most scenarios, introducive plays, subtitles and stuff like that. The second one is a good serif font, which is the one with the curves at the end of the letters, and those are good if you want a little more sophisticated vibe. You know, you're at a cafe or something, you're out doing something fancy, you know, you want to put a little more thought into it. And if you really want to get fancy, that's when start using the script fonts, which I use time to time. Usually for my title cards, I pair like a sans serif font with a little script on the top to make it a little fancier. For sans serif, I use Forma DJR Display. I don't really use sans serif fonts that much these days, but when I was in my college vlog grind, I was using a lot of Bookmania. That's a good font. For my script font, I use Nautica, which is very nice. I like it because it's like very clean and not too crazy. I know that a lot of script fonts can get kind of crazy. Gotta be my favorite part. I love it when movies are like the bold title sequences. You can find the joy in every part of editing, I feel like, if you just really think about it. If you want to be a YouTuber, this is your life, y'all. Unless you really blow up and then you can pay an editor to make your videos if you really don't like it. But you know, I'm trying to teach y'all how to make it fun, y'all. Come on now, bro. This is supposed to be a nice fun hobby, you know, making YouTube videos. My next tip for making some nice aesthetic YouTube videos is the classic transition frame. Y'all seen it if y'all watch those aesthetic YouTubers, what they call the radial mask. My editing software, basically I just make a circle mask and that just hides everywhere in the clip that's not in the circle. And then I set how big I want the circle at a certain point, and then I go forward a couple seconds and then I expand the circle, and then that's how you make the transition, you know, up and down. Whoop, whoop. you know what I'm saying? Another transition I like to use are film burns. You can find some good film burns. There's this one guy that I got my film burns from. I'll try to find the video. He basically just put them all in a Google Drive. I just download it. I slap it on top of the video, and then I put the blending mode to lighten or screen, and that just keeps the lightest parts of the image, which are the film burns. You know, it gives you a nice cinematic vibe, I feel like. For pretty easy, just copy and paste. And if you really want to get fancy with it, what I used to do in my college vlogs, but low-key is a lot of work, is to use these overlays, doing like masks and making it look like it's on film. There's a lot of stuff you can do with just masks, so experiment with masks and different stuff if you want to make some engaging graphics. It's pretty cool. And another pretty easy tool that you can incorporate to your editing to make them more engaging, zooming in, especially on long-winded scenes like talking. It's good to just have like a slow zoom over the talking to make it more engaging. You know, it like sucks the viewer into your video. So it's good to zoom in while you're talking when you're getting into the juicy nitty-gritty, bro. And then cut out when you get to the point of the actual sentence. You know what I'm saying? This is crazy, y'all. This is crazy. Alright, time for the most exciting part, the one that a lot of people ask for, which is color grading, which is basically just manually getting in there, editing the colors and the light to make it like a certain way, because that's the main thing to set your videos out from other people. You know, that's why movies look different from movie to movie. That's why everyone was talking about Wicked, you know, being desaturated, bro. People have a lot of opinions on that. There's a lot of ways you can go. You can go to the more film vibe, the more aesthetic YouTube, really colorful, the more just not edited, raw version. You know what I'm saying? You know, you may be thinking, you know, I'm just using my phone. I can't really color grade. I don't have the raw footage. But back when I used my iPhone for editing, I didn't color grade it that much. The only thing I did is that I noticed that the iPhone has a really washed out, kind of like bluish kind of tint to all their videos to make it look very washed out and very crazy, you know what I'm saying? So in my editing, I just basically just bumped up the warmth to compensate for that blue tint to make it a little more warm and inviting. And I just boosted the colors because it was very desaturated on the iPhone. With color grading, especially starting out, there's a lot to learn. So I just say that just use your eye. You know, your eye is the biggest indicator of like what looks good for your personal taste. Because for my personal style, I didn't really know too much about color grading for video per se, but like all my life I've been editing my photos for like Instagram and stuff, you know, getting a nice film vibe, putting the grain, boosting the colors and stuff, making it warmer. It's all up to personal preference. But recently what I've been liking is in my software, I can take the highlights and I can move it from white and push it a little towards orange or red to make it a little more warm, so it's like kind of like the golden hour type of sunlight. Really good technique if you guys want to more subtly make your videos a little more lifelike, you know, make it look like real life instead of like this cold video from a phone. The biggest thing as an artist, you know, my main background is an artist, so I was painting a lot of light, interacting with light. So my main tip is to basically use complementary colors. If it's a warm light, make the shadows blue to offset it so not everything is all muddled up in just orange, to give it a little variety, a little contrast. Same thing goes for if it's a really blue light, and you can make the shadows a little warm to give it that balance of the video. You know, it's basically just balancing warm and cold basically with the temperatures. And it doesn't have to be just orange and blue, you know, it could be green and purple and stuff. You know, just pick any warm color and contrast that with a cold color, and you can have some cool film results like a movie. And my biggest tip for color grading is to use adjustment layers if your software allows it. It's basically just a transparent layer that you can put all your colors and effects on, and it affects all the videos under it, and you could just copy and paste it around the video so you don't have to edit every little clip. So for the moment y'all been waiting for, bro, come on now. My secret sauce and my secret tips, y'all, you know. With making YouTube videos, I've come to find out that like there's this thing called Pareto's principle. 80% of the results come from 20% of the causes, which is basically most of the work you do in editing is like in the first couple iterations after the rough cut. You know, starting out, I was low-key a perfectionist, you know. I was editing to make it like perfect. I edit all the little captions and stuff for no misspellings, and then I would go back, if I made a little mistake in the edit. It was like 1 second, like barely part of the video, and you know, I was really caught up on that, and like I would delay me posting a video for so long just because I was so nitpicky with that. And I just say that like it's better to just get your video out there than to not get it out at all. But if you make a mistake on the video, you could just post it. Know that the next time you make a video, you'll make it even better. Every video you post, you just try to top your last post, and eventually you'll get better every iteration. Instead of just making that one video perfect, stay consistent and put it out when it's like 80% of the way through, 80% of the way done. Then by that time, probably have like 20 videos out of that time. Practice makes perfect, you know what I'm saying? Another secret sauce tip is using shortcuts for editing, because I can't tell you how much time I wasted cutting the clip and then dragging it, cutting, dragging, dragging. That probably like added up to hours of my life, bro. That I could have been doing something else, bro. I could have been chilling. I could have been sleeping, bro. But I was doing that. It wasn't until like I was fed up, I was like, dang, this is taking so long, that like I looked up if there was a shortcut for that, and on Premiere Pro there actually wasn't a shortcut to just keep stitching it together. But I made like a custom shortcut that I could just highlight everything and then it would join everything together. Find out if your software has something like that, if you can have custom shortcuts, or if they have a way to speed up your editing process, because you know, you want to leave more time for the fun parts, for the filming and the more fun editing, not just like stitching everything together. Another secret tip that maybe is overlooked is sound effects, actually, which is, I feel like, really elevates the engagement of your video. You know, you could put like whoosh sound effects if you're walking, or even just like organic stuff, like when you're outside filming b-roll, have a clip of the trees, make sure to boost the audio if like the birds are chirping or the wind. Just getting your natural sounds is really good for, especially for montages. You know, you want the viewer to feel like they're actually there, smelling the leaves, hearing the birds, you know what I'm saying, you know. And my last tip is just to get a hard drive. Starting videos, especially on my phone, I didn't have that much storage. I was constantly thinking about storage. I was like, oh, I gotta delete all this stuff. I gotta finish this project so I could delete it to start the next project. But if you get a hard drive, you can just have all your clips there and you can film multiple projects at once. Yeah, but if you made it this far, bro, you're a real one. Hopefully these tips and tricks helped you in maybe starting your YouTube career, or just like giving you new insights on how you can spice up your edits, you know what I'm saying, bro. But I believe in you. Other than that, thank y'all for watching. Check out some of my other videos in the future as I continue to build my editing skills and YouTube making skills. I'll be sure to make an update video about this, you know, if I got any new tricks to share. So like, comment, and subscribe, you know, and check out links in the description for any resources that I put in there. Future me, hopefully I'll put something that helps y'all. Peace.